It's a water service line inventory project. Director Nevergall.
Thank you very much. I do not have a full presentation tonight, but it's been about a year since we got together and talked about the water service line inventory project. So it's a good time for an update, and there's a letter that's going to go into the mail to several residents. So just wanted to let you know what was coming and how we're planning to approach that. So to begin with, Gladstone, like every other city in the United States, had to do a water service line inventory as part of the lead and copper rule revisions. What that is basically it's to reduce lead exposure in water supplies across the entire city, across the entire country. And this all dates back to Flint, Michigan, if you recall. Flint had a huge public health emergency due to lead contamination in their water supply. And there's a lot of things that went into that. The water system that put out very corrosive water, a part of the country that used lead service lines for a good portion of their history. Gladstone is about a 180 from that. We still have found no documented instances of lead services used in the city of Gladstone. We just completed our inventory, or the majority of our inventory, and that's why I'm here tonight. Of our 10,000 services, we identified 43 services as galvanized. Another 170 we're still working to identify what the material is. So what that means is we didn't find any lead. The bulk of our services are copper, which is a good thing. And one of the things that we have to do, though, is even though galvanized by itself is not considered a lead service, EPA is classifying it as galvanized requiring replacement because we don't have the records to indicate what was essentially used prior to when Gladstone was incorporated. So most of these locations are in portions of the water system that were essentially in areas that Gladstone annexed when it was incorporated. So we don't have records that go back that far, and since galvanized has the ability to corrode, if you've ever looked inside a galvanized pipe, it can almost rust shut. It has the ability to collect particles from lead, other contaminants, and that type of thing. So EPA, in the abundance of caution, has classified those as galvanized services that require replacement. So again, 43 of those across the city, and then 170 that we classified as status unknown. And those we weren't able to either go out and check the meter pit, check what was coming into the meter pit, what was going out of the meter pit. So what we're planning to do with those is we're going to spend the next 2 weeks trying to identify those materials. If we cannot do that, then in your packet there's a letter. This is a form letter that comes from the Department of Natural Resources. We'll go to those property owners. I really don't like the tone of the letter. It's very scary to kind of put it that way. So our plan is to include a cover letter that's specific to Gladstone, kind of explaining why we're doing this, that this is not unique to Gladstone. Essentially, every water system, every water customer within the United States could potentially be receiving a letter like this. And we're also going to designate one point of contact for the city, and that gentleman is going to be Steve Westcott at our water plant. He is the most knowledgeable. He's a licensed operator. He has the ability that if we need to kind of pursue, if someone's extremely concerned, wants a water sample, that kind of thing, Steve has the resources to actually do that. So we're going to direct those phone calls to Steve and let him kind of handle that if there's a concern. So with that, that's really all I wanted to bring to your attention today. I didn't want to send out a letter that potentially caused some concern in the public that you hadn't seen. So again, there's a copy of that letter in your packet. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
Tim, thank you. That was going to be my comment, because reading that letter, I thought it was scary and totally confusing. And I thought if anybody gets this, they're not going to have any idea what to do or who to call. So thank you for adding that extra letter and designating Steve. Because I was just going to say, I hope you have staff to deal with this, because you're going to get calls from people who are out of their minds because they don't know what to do with the letter. Thanks.
One thing I do need to add to, just kind of moving forward. So just to touch on it, the memo talks about what's the public side and what's the private side. Public is from the public main to the meter, essentially from the pit to the house. private side. We're going to continue to look for grant financing or grant funding, not necessarily financing, to replace these water lines. I've had some conversations with City Manager Bear. You know, if the final number ends up being 43 services that are galvanized, it's costing about $5,500 to $6,000 a pop right now to replace those. So you start kind of doing the math, and you kind of read the letter. Right now, the customer side, the private side, is the responsibility of the customer. But as you read the letter, you can tell that there's an EPA, DNR hope that cities will become involved in some fashion to help with the cost. So probably in a meeting in the future, you may see a resolution to seek grant funding to try to replace these in a timely fashion. I kind of threw an idea at the city manager today, which he needs a chance to kind of think it through. But you know, is a small grant program a possibility that could possibly go through the neighborhood commission? We're just trying to be creative and you know, try to get through these as quick as we can. Right now, to date, we've replaced six meters, and part of that is from ARPA. When we got the ARPA funds, one of the requirements of using that for water systems is if you find even a private galvanized line or lead line, that you replace it. So we've replaced six through the water main replacement project that we did with ARPA funds. I think we're recommending to continue that if we're replacing the water line and if we find a service line. What we did is we just basically wrote a letter, said, okay, you grant the city of Gladstone access to replace from here to here. This is why. They have the opportunity to turn that down if they want to. Of course, everybody took the opportunity. I mean, it's $6,000 that if you even get past the health implications of it, the galvanized lines need to be replaced. They're prone to breaking, they corrode. At this point, they're 70 years old, so they need to be replaced one way or the other. So.
Tim, are we replacing those or are we contracting them out?
So the ones that we have done, we have contracted out. We had one that we had a plumber replace just because of the timing and how it was discovered. And then the other one was we just had our water line contractor that the city hired replace that. And so in that particular contract, we knew that it could be part of the ARPA requirements, so we put a $20,000 allowance in the contract that basically said if you find one, you replace it. It ended up being $75 a foot to replace it. But at least if we found it and we didn't know the number that we would find, because that's the other thing we're finding too is, and this number could change up or down, just like any pipe material, it's buried, so you don't know what it is. So you can check it in the pit, and it's one material. You can check it going into the house, it's one material. One of them we dug it up, and in 10 feet it changed material twice. So I mean, it's going to be an ongoing process of if we find one, making sure that it's documented and working to get it replaced. But I can tell you that I think I have total confidence that we're further ahead than any other city as far as this process. This was a huge undertaking. Our staff did well over 5,000 inspections themselves. We had a consultant that helped us with some inspections, Lamp Reinerson, and then Ace Pipe Cleaning actually helped us as well. They did some excavating for us. So to get to this number, it took a lot of hours to get this data. And again, it's going to continually need to be updated, and we're going to find things in the field, and we'll just keep you posted and try to stay on top of it.
Thank you, Tim. Right. Good evening, Chief Ferris. How are you?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks for having me tonight. I was pretty excited to be able to present an overview of part of the police department that's often maybe in the background or overlooked. And full disclosure, about 3 years ago, I was praying for an NGO to come in and take over this whole operation. And today I'm really happy to say that it's done a complete 180. I'm really proud of what's going on out there. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through some of the current staffing. We're fully staffed. We changed some things around organizationally about a year and a half ago and got rid of the part-time kennel attendant position, and we're able to add a third person. And my hope was to kind of extend the hours of operation that we have and then go at least have somebody there 7 days a week. Because previously we didn't have anybody there on weekends. That's kind of problematic for adoptions and everything else. That third position helped with that coverage. So currently, Monday through Sunday, we have an on-duty animal control officer from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we've added a little bit of time there. And then the shelter hours, Sunday through Tuesday, by appointment only for adoptions, things like that. We're 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday. So we do have 7-day-a-week coverage and trying to spread out the times that they're actually there, and that's helped us out quite a bit. The contract company that we had allegedly cleaning it in 2023 was found to be doing a very subpar job, to the point that our animal control officers were almost every day having to come in and redo everything that they did. We promptly terminated that contract, and really it was at the request of the animal control officers. They asked if they could just take it over because they knew they could do a better job in it. Anyway, we purchased a little bit of extra equipment and the chemicals they needed to actually do the job right, and ever since then we've had great success with that, and I was happy to see that they wanted to take that on. So that helped with the sanitary conditions for not only the animals but the public area in the front. We decluttered the inside of that place. We purchased some additional equipment like a separate refrigerator for the animal control officers to use, and some shelving and things like that. So we did a good job at least trying to update some things that were in there. Year-to-date stats for the animal control unit: 756 calls for service that they've handled, taken 169 reports. That was something else we did last year. As previously they weren't using the same reporting system that the police officers were. They were doing everything in Word documents, and as you can imagine, it's really kind of hard to keep track of what they're doing, and it's not going into our records management system. So cross-train them, so now they're all using that system. We're able to at least capture more data out of that as well. And so far, year to date, they've issued 223 citations for animal ordinance violations. Some of the positives: dogs and puppies, they've adopted out 79, returned 103 to their owners, and then they have relationships with some of the other shelters. We'll do shelter transfers. Maybe another shelter needs looking for one to adopt or whatever. Same thing with cats and kittens: 122 adopted, 10 returned to owners, and 51 shelter to shelters. And we had one bird returned this year. Our stats there are phenomenal. Some of the notable activity that they've been involved in this year, not only the Gladstone Touch a Truck, the North Kansas City School District had a Touch a Truck event here a couple weeks ago. Clay County's National Night Out, they were asked to be special guests there. Walk and Wag, Dunkin' Dogs, and they're going to do another drive-through vaccine on November the 9th. And if you look at the photo on the left and the bottom one, you'll see the lines that they had of people lined up to bring their pets in for vaccination. They don't even have to get out of the car. The first year that we did that, there was drone footage and there was a line of cars as far as you can see. So that's really kind of a positive thing for the community, and makes it very convenient for them. Great team up there now. Our newest animal control officer, Emma Malzahar, filled a spot here over the summer. Heather Smith and Maddie Cockrum both applied for scholarships to the MACA conference, which is like the State Animal Control Association conference. They were awarded scholarships to attend that. And then it wasn't captured. Well, we haven't done this overview for a while, but 2022 and 2023, they were awarded the Best Friends Network for being exceeding 90% save rate for cats and dogs, because we are a no-kill shelter. So that's a big deal for us, and it goes to the work that they put into trying to find homes or owners or whatever for these pets. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead, Jeff.
I just, a comment and a question. 3 years ago we did have frequent issues, primarily with staffing. It was very difficult with very limited staffing on the weekends. really pleased with everything that's been done to change that. You know, people that were looking to adopt, you know, were having trouble doing it back then. I'm also curious with your statistics are talking about the calls for service. What's a typical call for service from animal control? Is it just dog related?
No, it's everything. It could be loose pets, barking dogs. They handle the dead animal and the roadway calls. If it's something that we can pick up, they'll pick them up. If not, they'll coordinate with Public Works. If it's, you know, larger animals, either Public Works or Department of Transportation to get those moved or picked up as well. So it could be animal neglect calls. We've had a couple of pretty serious calls this year where there was an animal abuse call that was, you know, this girl posted on social media abusing a dog, and they took that and ran with it and got criminal charges filed on that. So they've been very proactive, and they also don't hesitate to get our officers or detectives involved if it does kind of go into a longer investigation.
Thank you.
First of all, how's the, I know a few years ago we made a lot of improvements to the facility. How are they doing space-wise?
You know, I think space-wise are okay. It's obviously an older building that, you know, we did make some improvements in that kind of transition, like getting some of the equipment updated. There's, you know, the exterior of it, they've done some landscaping, and Tim and then Justin, the facilities group, done a good job at least helping us try to keep it tidied up a little bit. You know, it's just an older building. It's going to be that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on as far as maybe exterior repairs here and there. Inside of it seems to be fine. Might be some concrete shifting and things like that we need to look at. But as far as the space goes, I think we're okay. I think they do a pretty good job of keeping it manageable. So nothing I'm really concerned about right now.
They haven't been out there for years, and I don't want them to get weirded out by a councilman walking through. So I'd like to go out there again, take a tour sometime.
Sure.
I'll arrange that through you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll be glad
If
to.
anyone else wants to go. I'm not going to adopt you.
He's feral.
Yeah, I'll be glad to take that.
Thanks.
Chief Ferris, I do have one question. With the new dog park that we're going to build, what will be, you know, basically the relationship with animal control and people in the dog park? I know that there's sometimes a little animosity or whatnot just because of how our dogs are being interactive and whatnot. How are they, these three folks, how are they getting ready for that job?
Yeah, fortunately, dog parks aren't really a new thing anymore. I mean, when they first came on the scene, I don't think there was any like etiquette lessons, but I think the fact that we've got a large dog and a small dog segregated area, I think is going to help us out. But I look forward most to is having that as an opportunity to, you know, if somebody prospective client wants to come in and take a dog out and play with it, you know, walk around the park or something, and kind of take it for a test drive. We've got a really nice place to do that, or we will have a nice place to do that. You know, there's always going to be little tips here and there, but, you know, largely I think they're capable of handling those. And if not, then we've got police officers that are able to do the same thing. But I think it's going to be more of a kind of a recruiting for adoption, if that's a thing, with that amount of traffic through there.
Any other questions for Chief Ferris? Great job. Good to hear. Okay, we've got about 6 minutes until our meeting begins. to the October 28th, 2024 City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, please note all City Council members are present and we have a quorum. Please join me and rise for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Color guard, forward, march. Ready, halt. Madam Mayor, the colors are present. Post colors. Present arms. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2.
A big thank you to VFW Post 10906, Carla Gleaton, Gordon Harris, Jim Zimmerman, and Jim Cox. We always appreciate them coming in and sharing the time with us and to cite the Pledge of Allegiance. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. If there are no objections or changes to the agenda, it will stand as presented. Item number 5, approval of the October 14th, 2024 closed City Council meeting minutes.
Mayor Spalla.
Councilmember Moore.
I move to approve the minutes of the closed city council meeting of October 14, 2024.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the closed City Council meeting minutes from October 14th, 2024. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The regular City Council meeting minutes, the closed City Council meeting minutes from October 14th, 2024 stand approved. Item number 6, approval of the October 14th, 2024 regular City Council meeting minutes. There's a
Mayor Spalla.
Councilmember Moore.
I move for the approval of the October 14, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the regular City Council meeting minutes from October 24th, 2024. All in favor state aye. Any opposed? The regular City Council meeting minutes from October 14th, 2024 stand approved as published. Next item is item number 7, communications from the audience. Members of the public are invited to speak about any topic not listed on the agenda. We would ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes. For any members of the, please.
My name's Jenny Kyle. Sorry. My cat got up my neighbor's tree for 2.5 days, and the police or the fire department came, both of them, 1 and 2. When one guy couldn't figure out how to get her out, another guy came. They used everything they had, and we were there nearly an hour and a half. And I want to thank them for doing that and getting her out of the tree, and all the police cars that I've seen all up and down the road, all around the city. They're everywhere.
Thank you, Jenny. And thank you, Chief Desautel's. Please report that back to the station.
Thank you very much.
Any other audience members? Seeing none, we'll move on to communications from City Council. Councilman Davis.
Good evening, Mayor. Couple quick things. One, it's kind of nice to know that we've got a little bit of a movie atmosphere with the fire department going and saving cats out of trees. It's exciting. But 2, obviously we got a very important election next Tuesday, right? Obviously, early voting is open now, so if anybody wants to go take advantage of that, if you are Gladstonian, we can go up to Liberty and take advantage of that. And 2 quick things I'll advise on it, and I think it's very important. I tell my family this, I tell everybody that I know this. 1, educate yourself on everything, not just the national items, but the local items that probably have a bigger impact on us. And 2, be respectful. be proud of who you are, be proud of that you're a Gladstonian. That's why I did this, is because I'm proud of where we're at. I might not agree with everything that everybody else has, and I'm sure as hell know that everybody doesn't agree with me, but I can respect people for that. So that would be the only thing I would say.
Thank you. Councilman Garnos.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just tag on to what Spencer has said. We're pleased in Gladstone to be one of the 3 sites in Clay County that is an early voting site. So we're pleased to have the opportunity to show off the Gladstone Community Center to other residents in Clay County who want to do early voting. And I've been by the center multiple times. The lines are long. So thanks to everybody for their patience, and please remember to vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Thank you, Mayor Spall. Just a couple of things real quick. Over the weekend, the Houlihan family had a celebration of life for Beth Houlihan. I thought was very well presented and extremely well attended. Clearly she had friends from around the metropolitan area. And secondly, I had the opportunity to visit with a couple of classfuls of second graders last week, right here in these council chambers. This is the result. It beat me up pretty bad, but they really were interested, and it's really cool to see these kids engaged, and they were just adorable. So appreciate that opportunity standing in for you.
Thank you. And in my report, I was going to thank you and Councilmember Moore for sitting in for me while I was on vacation. I'm glad you had a good time. Definitely. Also, got a really good report this afternoon from Alan Napoli regarding the Neighborhood Commission and where we're at with the grant process. Currently, we are working, the Neighborhood Commission and city staff, we're working on 6 grants for individuals here in the city. We're taking our time in doing this as, we want to make sure that we're basically doing all of our checks and balances, and the process is going well, and we are, safeguarded through the legal process and whatnot. So thank you, Alan, for all your work on doing, and continued work on doing this. I know this hasn't been easy, and it's been a new responsibility, so thank you very much. Moving on, our communications from City Manager.
Thank you. I have a few things. Halloween at the Firehouse will be taking place Thursday at Fire Station 2 from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Kids will be able to walk through the fire station and visit with the firefighters as they're handing out candy, and I've been told there's a lot of activities to do within the fire station as well. So I think they're voting on a pumpkin carving contest they had, and I think they're going to do some crafts in the training room as well. So it's something new, and I think it'll be exciting and well attended. Half-price yard waste and brush disposal is happening this Friday through Sunday at the Gladstone Public Works Facility, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. This is for Gladstone residents only, and proof of residency is required. I'm going to underscore what Chief Ferris talked about in his presentation, that there's a drive-through vaccine clinic being held at the Gladstone Animal Shelter on Saturday, November 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and no appointment is necessary, but it is a first-come, first-served event. And then it's not too late to submit an application for those interested in serving on one of the Gladstone's boards or commissions. If you apply by Friday, you have a chance to advise the City Council on a variety of important topics, and you can visit the city's website for more information. And I'm sure that I want to introduce our new finance director, Matt Dayton, whose first day was today, and I know he was appropriately overwhelmed because the city's budget is not easy. It's one of the more complex budgets. So I know he's got a big task ahead, but he has got a magnificent crew that have welcomed him aboard, and will get him on board tracking very quickly. And that is all.
Thank you. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
As representative of the City Council here, we're excited to work with you, and please reach out to us through Bob at any time if you have any questions.
Greatly appreciate that. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Next item is our consent agenda. Madam Clerk, will you please explain and read that consent agenda?
A consent agenda allows the City Council to consider and approve routine items of business without discussion. Any member of the City Council, the city staff, or the public may request removal of any item from the consent agenda and requests that it be considered under the regular agenda if discussion or debate of the item is desired. Items not removed from the consent agenda will stand approved upon motion by any council member, second unanimous vote to approve the consent agenda as published or modified. Consent agenda, consider special event permit, Haunted Firehouse, Halloween Party, Fire Station Number 2, 6569 North Prospect Avenue, Thursday, October 31, 2024, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. Consider financial report for 3 months ending September 30, 2024.
Does anyone from the audience, city council, or staff wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Spalding.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
We approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda stands approved. And we'll move on to our regular agenda. Item number 11 is Resolution R-24-66, a resolution authorizing change order number 13 in the amount of $75,000 to the contract with Land Telecommunications Services Incorporated for the fiscal year 23 curb, gutter, and sidewalk program, Phase 2 Project TP2305. Entertain a motion.
Mayor Spalding.
Councilman Davis.
I move to place bill number R-24-66 on its first reading. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't have the bill. We have
No, it's resolution R-24-66.
I move to place resolution R-24-26 on its first reading.
Thank you.
No first reading.
Just a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution R-24-66 stands approved. Item number 12, Resolution R-24-67, a resolution declaring certain city property surplus and authorizing the sale and/or disposal of such property held by the city to the highest bidder via online auction, sealed bid, and/or otherwise disposed of as approved by the city manager. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Spalding.
Councilmember Moore.
I move for the adoption of Resolution R-24-67.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the approval of Resolution R-24-67. Is there any discussion? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution R-24-67 stands approved. Is there any other business? Seeing none, we are adjourned.